One to the stream. My name is Brian Craig, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. Well, the Maryland man is back in the United States, and look at CNN here. This guy that Pam Bondi and President Trump took before a grand jury on some very serious charges, which we're going to go through and break down in just a moment. He's guilty as the day is long. He's a human trafficker. That's what this indictment is about, a human trafficker. Human trafficking is slavery, all right? It's a new fancy 21st century term for it, but it is slavery. You are trafficking humans from point A to point B to do some type of slave labor. Now, it's not the same kind of slave labor they had when the Democrats were enslaving black people in the South before the Civil War. These are people that are paid slave wages, but they're slaves indeed. Sometimes it's labor slavery, working on a farm, working as some liberal lady's nanny, working in a restaurant, a hotel, a massage parlor, a brothel, whatever. But it's slavery. And what he's been indicted for, human trafficking, he's a slave trader is what he is. He transports slaves. And CNN says, man mistakenly deported to El Salvador, returned to the United States. That is not what happened at all. He was returned to the United States, not because of these liberal wokesters that are wanting to bring back slavery. You know, the Democrats have always been big on slavery, right? They brought us slavery before the Civil War. They've had some other instances of it over the years, and now they've found a way to have slaves again with the migrants that are here. Welcome to the program. My name is Brian Craig. If you're new here, this is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel, and if you're already subscribed, like the video and share on your socials if you don't mind. Now, Pam Bondi, this is the best press conference Pam Bondi has had since she became Attorney General of the United States. This is a good one, and I want to play this, and we'll talk about it. And the reason that they brought him back here is a very good one. And when I say they, I'm talking about Pam Bondi and President Trump. And when I first saw the story today was long before the press conference, and just a story had dropped that Garcia, oh, by the way, he beats his wife. Remember that? And that's not me saying it. That's not conservatives. That's not MAGA saying it. His wife says that he beat her up, okay? Pretty bad, too. That's who the Democrats are all excited about. But the reason that Pam Bondi and President Trump brought this fake Maryland man back wasn't because he was wrongly deported. They're tired of these false accusations that they're sending innocent people who have done no wrong to the prison in El Salvador and deporting them. This guy did a lot wrong, as Pam Bondi pointed out here. Let me play this. This is Pam Bondi's press conference today, which was absolutely amazing.
Good afternoon. We're here today to announce a major...
Oh, and you notice behind Pam Bondi, the Deputy Attorney General, he speaks a little bit too. He was Trump's lawyer in that corrupt case in New York.
Update in an important case. Abrego Garcia has landed in the United States to face justice. On May 21st, a grand jury in the Middle District of Tennessee returned a sealed indictment charging Abrego Garcia with alien smuggling and conspiracy to commit alien smuggling in violation of Title 8 U.S.C. 1324.
Okay, now this is amazing because remember what happened. This indictment happened mistakenly because of the idiot Democrats, right? Because the Democrats, they were flying down to El Salvador. They were making this guy some new poster child for something. And people started looking into it. And what happened? We found that in Tennessee, we had the police body cam footage. He was pulled over by the Tennessee Highway Patrol. That's why this indictment is coming out of Tennessee and not D.C. And remember what happened, right? He was trafficking humans. slave trading. He's a slave trader. And I mean, he's the worst of the worst because he's involved in slave trade of his own people, too, on top of it, right? I mean, he's a traitor to his own people. But anyway, the Tennessee Highway Patrolman on that stop knew what he was doing, knew that he was involved in human trafficking. And because it was an immigration case right at the stop and a human trafficking case, this was when Biden's regime was in power. He contacted the FBI, and the FBI told the Tennessee Highway Patrol to let this monster go. And Tennessee's not happy about that, and that's why they're so cooperative now that they're behind this indictment.
We want to thank President Bukele for agreeing to return Abrego Garcia to the United States. Our government presented El Salvador with an arrest warrant, and they agreed to return him to our country. We're grateful to President Bukele for agreeing to return him to our country to face these very serious charges. This is what American justice looks like.
That's right.
Upon completion of his sentence, we anticipate he will be returned to his home country of El Salvador. The grand jury found that over the past 9 years, Abrego Garcia has played a significant role in an alien smuggling ring. They found this was his full-time job.
Wow.
Not a contractor.
Oh, yeah. You hear that, Democrats? This Maryland man, you know, since this story began a few months back, has there been one positive anything that's come out about this guy? He's trafficking in humans. He is not a contractor. He's a human smuggler by trade. He's a tradesman, all right. He's a contractor. He's a contractor with MS-13's human smuggling slavery ring. He beats his wife. I mean, what has come out good about this guy?
He was a smuggler of humans and children and women. He made over 100 trips, the grand jury found, smuggling people throughout our country. MS-13 members, violent gang terrorist organization members throughout our country. Thousands of illegal aliens were smuggled. This is especially disturbing because Abrego Garcia is also alleged with transporting minor children.
Wow.
The defendant traded the innocence of minor children for profit.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, this guy is human scum. He's the champion of the left.
There are even more disturbing facts that the grand jury uncovered. It is alleged this defendant is part of the same smuggling ring responsible for the death of more than 50 migrants in 2021 after the tractor trailer overturned in Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
This is part of that same ring. The defendant abused undocumented alien females, according to co-conspirators who were under his control while transporting them throughout our country.
What does that mean, he abused them? Does that mean he beat them up or he sexually abused them? What does that mean?
This defendant trafficked firearms and narcotics throughout our country on multiple occasions. They were using vehicles, SUVs, with added seats in the back, floors that had been ripped out, guns, narcotics, children, women, MS-13 members. That is what the grand jury found.
Wow.
A co-conspirator alleged that the defendant solicited nude photographs and videos of a minor. A co-conspirator also alleges the defendant played a role in the murder of a rival gang member's mother.
Oh, my goodness. This guy has committed the worst crimes that a human can commit.
These facts demonstrate Abrego Garcia is a danger to our community. We want to thank the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, our state and local partners, our acting U.S. Attorney Robert McGuire, and prosecutors from the Joint Task Force, Vulcan. Questions?
Attorney General, The traffic stop that we've seen video of from Tennessee, where Abrego Garcia was first identified by the local authorities. At the time, the Homeland Security Department declined to take custody of him. What has happened in between that time?
No, that's, this guy's from CNN or MS. I don't remember if it was CNN or in NBC, but that's total bullshit right there. I just told you what happened. The Highway Patrol of Tennessee contacted the FBI because the vehicle came up with the human smuggling, and the Biden FBI, the Chris Wray FBI, said let him go. And this jerk is acting as if, well, the Tennessee Highway Patrol, they didn't see anything back then, and they let him go. That's total bullcrap. And you know what? This reporter knows it. He is a liar.
Time and in between the time that the government has been arguing that he was not returnable from El Salvador, what has happened since in this investigation that brought you here?
Yes, the question was in 2021, there was the traffic stop. And what has changed since then? What has changed is Donald Trump is now president of the United States,
That's
and our
right.
borders are again secure.
That's right.
And thanks to the bright light that has been shined on Abrego Garcia, this investigation continued with actually amazing police work. And we were able to track this case and stop this international smuggling ring from continuing.
These were recently found facts, right?
Yes,
Okay.
recently found facts.
Okay, now this jerk off, what a total jerk off this guy is, this reporter, right? Oh, these are recently found facts. So he's still trying to craft this fake narrative that he was deported without due process, a lie, deported without any crimes or anything known. These are not all new facts. He was known to be human smuggling then, but the FBI said let him go.
To that point, can you just explain when this investigation was opened? The investigation in Tennessee, can you say when that investigation was opened?
Well, the grand jury indicted on May 21st. This investigation has been ongoing.
This case has been hotly debated here in Washington. In your mind, does this resolve that issue in terms of his deportation? And should this be seen in any way as complying with the judge's order to return him to the U.S. and the Supreme Court ruling that the U.S. government should facilitate his return?
There's a big difference between what the state of play was before the indictment and after the indictment. And so the reason why he is back and was returned was because there's an arrest warrant.
That's right.
Which was presented to the government in El Salvador. So there's a big difference there. As far as whether it makes the ongoing litigation in Maryland moot, I would think so, but we don't know that. This, he just landed today.
Jake, CBS.
I just want to confirm what you said earlier, that you're intending to prosecute him and keep him in an American prison if he's found guilty, and then would remove him after his sentence is over.
Correct. Yes, he will be prosecuted in our country, sentenced in our country if convicted, and then returned after completion of his sentence.
Now, he could be in prison for 1,000 years in the United States.
Last one, Sadie, Wall Street Journal.
Okay.
Now, listen to this. Listen to this idiot here. Okay, she's a real beaut.
I have two. One's on topic, one's off topic. Maybe I misunderstood you, but you were mentioning, that he had some involvement in a murder, or was connected to groups that had, involved with this other smuggling ring. But to be clear, the only charges he's facing right now are the, human smuggling charges. Just that's the one offense. But the other things that
He's only being charged with human smuggling. He's only being charged with smuggling women, children, and men to be used in slavery. That's all he's being charged with, right? It's not like he's a real criminal. What a bunch of jerks.
have talked about are not actually in the indictment?
No, co-conspirators allege that, and we were clear to say that. He is charged with, it's not only very serious charges of alien smuggling. And again, there were children involved in that. You know, human trafficking, not only in our country, but in our world, is very, very real. It's very dangerous. And as you saw recently in Virginia, the arrest we made of the MS-13 member, unrelated to this, we learned at that press conference That's where they bring young children into our country, and they start grooming them at middle school age to become MS-13 full-fledged members, commit violent crimes throughout our country. It is highly organized. It is very dangerous, and they are living throughout our country, but no more, because they are being arrested, they are being prosecuted, and being convicted and deported when appropriate. That's all for today.
Yeah, that's all.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, jerks. Bunch of jerks. I mean, you listen to these reporters here. Each and every one of them is looking for some excuse that they can make to try to tell you that this is a good guy, that he did nothing wrong. Oh, are these new crimes that you just found out about? So he was really deported for only charged with human smuggling. These people in the media, listen, the fake news media, what they really are activists, right? They're not media people. And you look at, just take a look at this. CNN. This is on CNN's website. Man mistakenly deported to El Salvador, returned to the U.S. He was not, and that was that guy asking that question. Well, these are new crimes, right? That you found out about. He was not mistakenly deported. He was deported because two federal judges, including an appellate judge, ordered him deported. This is left-wing Politico. Garcia is back in U.S. custody after being illegally deported and will now face criminal charges. What are they talking about? What court said he was illegally deported? And here's his poor wife. Do you really think that she wants that man that beat her bloody coming back? She might have to share that crowdfunding money to pay for the lawyers. Let me read through this a little bit. This is Politico. Kilmar Garcia, the Salvadorian native whose deportation by the Trump administration was declared illegal by the Supreme Court, that is not true, and generated a national furor, is back in U.S. custody. He was secretly indicted by a federal grand jury last month on 2 felonies, transporting undocumented immigrants and conspiring with others to do so. They've even lessened the severity of what notice there's no human smuggling there. They're acting like he was just helping migrants get into the United States. But I got to tell you, Pam Bondi did a good job here, and she deserves a lot of credit for what she's done. She's taken a lot of heat, and I get it. But this is a great one. This is a great indictment. It's a great case. She did a great job here, and I promise you, President Trump was involved in this. Now, if you are new to my program, my name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure that you subscribe. And those of you that are already subbed, please do me the favor of liking the video if you don't mind. It really is amazing to me. You look at the Democrats. There's no question that this is human slavery that's going on, right? I mean, when you hear the Democrats talk, listen to the things they say. They're even saying them this week. Who's going to work in our restaurants? Who's going to work on the farms? Who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? They want their cheap slave labor. And, the labor statistics came out today, and more people have jobs. And that is because the illegals are gone or they're in hiding. So there's job openings for Americans or legal immigrants. There was a story earlier this week that the murder rates are down in blue cities and states all over America. Why do you think murder rates are down? It's because the illegals are being deported, and a lot of them are self-deporting. Many of them being deported by, Tom Homan and Homeland Security, but a lot of them are also out in hiding, not out doing crime. I mean, there's a direct correlation between the drop in the murder rate in these blue cities and the deportations. Now, the fake news, for some reason, they think because they're media, they have the right to be in the Oval Office and ask President Trump anything they want and bark at him and slander him and ask not questions, but make statements and then make it seem like it's a question. You know, you don't have a right just because you're media to go in the Oval Office. And, you know, I'm media. Do I have a right just to go into the Oval Office and say whatever I want? I don't think so. Not that I would disrespect, but President Trump threw out the Associated Press, and they were, how dare you throw us out? Well, listen to this. A federal appeals court just sided with President Trump, allowing him to ban the Associated Press from the Oval Office. You know, it's his office in his home. You know, remember in the first term, he had that, who was that, that reporter that was with Univision that he had removed from a press conference? Remember that? You just because you say you're press, and these people aren't press, like I say, they're fake news activists. Just because you're so-called press doesn't mean you have a right to be in this place. And there's a lot of media in this country, okay, not just me, that don't have White House press credentials, right? Exactly. Oh man, this is amazing. You know, and with all the controversy that's been going on the last couple of days with Elon and everything, look at how much Trump is getting. See, Trump doesn't have time for these petty things. And if you notice, during this entire second term, you know, when this Elon Musk thing happened yesterday afternoon, it was pretty shocking. I mean, you know, come on, it was shocking. But I knew, and I'm sure most of you knew, it's not going to be in the news that long because President Trump there'll be a new news story tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. The news cycle is moving so fast, and President Trump is doing so much that they can't get a narrative going, right? You know, and the way President Trump handled this whole thing with Elon Musk yesterday and today, he didn't do anything to prolong the story or the argument, right? He said a few things, but not a lot, and he didn't get involved in any back and forth, which he shouldn't do because the president is above Elon Musk, and and he's also not been doing that with the press. And in President Trump's first term, he spent a lot of time arguing with the press and made some of them pretty famous, like that idiot Jim Acosta. And the press, one of the reasons they can't get these hateful narratives going about President Trump is because with so many things that he's doing, they can't keep up. Before they can get organized on a story, 3 or 4 more have happened. And it's pretty amazing. I got to tell you, he's doing such a great job. And screw the AP. You know, they should be a little more respectful. And you know, listen, President Trump's made some changes at ICE and gave Tom Homan the order to amp up the deportations. Look at this, Atlanta, Georgia. Tom Homan and ICE have a goal of 3,000 arrest of illegals a day. Here they are. They just busted a bunch of employees at a nail salon and took them into custody in Georgia. And you know, this is a prime example of what I was talking about. You know, the illegals have taken over jobs like this, nail techs. That's a vocation that young women used to go to school for and learn, and they'd get a job and they'd make an okay living. And over the years, with the open border, illegals have been taking these jobs away. And there's so many jobs out there that they've been taking up. That's why, you know, millennials, Gen Z, a lot of them don't work as much as maybe my generation or your generation, however old you are. And that's because the illegals have been taking over so many of these jobs. And when a lot of people will say, oh, the nail techs. How many of you have known of, maybe you've had friends, daughters, or just knew of people who wanted to be nail techs? It's a good profession. You can make a good living. And a lot of what they get is tips. And now, since when the big, beautiful bill passes, we're going to have no taxes on tips. That's even a more lucrative job than it was, right? Absolutely. I tell you, that I just thought that was an awesome press conference with Pam Bondi. It was really nice to see her like that. She's done a few press conferences, and that was her best one, and I was pretty excited about that. Now, things are really, sadly, amping up with Russia and Ukraine. I saw a story yesterday that said 1.4 million have died in the war. That's both sides. 1.4 million. I mean, we lost about 1 million in the Civil War, right? How many? 50-some thousand in Vietnam. I mean, that's a lot of people. 1.4 million, and they're not all military. A lot of them are civilian deaths, and the war is so pointless. It cannot be won by either side. Even if Russia took Ukraine, they'd have decades of insurgency going on there. It's just never. It's a never-ending conflict that there's no resolution to, that neither side can win, and it's truly amping up. And there was, this week, a couple of major actions. One of them was the underwater demolition of the bridge, the Russian bridge in the Crimea, and then there was this massive Ukrainian drone strike on the Russian bombers. And, what did we find out? Just this week, Lindsey Graham and Pompeo were both in Ukraine. And I saw Pompeo. I've never seen the guy so happy. He was walking around Ukraine grinning ear to ear. That means Pompeo, he's profiting off of this. And there is no way you could convince me that it's a coincidence that Lindsey Graham, with his $400,000 hotel room racket that he's got going in Ukraine. Do you see that? He spent $400,000 of taxpayer money on a hotel room in Ukraine. You really think the hotel room cost that much? Who got the money? Was it Lindsey? Did he have to split it? Who knows? And Mike Pompeo's, it is not a coincidence. They were over there meeting with whatever deep state committee they're a part of. Now listen to this. This was Stitchfield. This was yesterday. Stitchfield on Real America's Voice. Stitchfield is awesome. He's on Real America Voice now. He was on Newsmax, and they fired him to make room for Bowling, who's not there anymore. And didn't Stitchfield say that they were hounding him because he was not supporting the war and the American involvement in the war in Ukraine? Well, listen to this. Larry Johnson, who's been around for a while in the news world, he's a former CIA guy, and he dropped a big one about Lindsey Graham in Ukraine. Listen to this.
And let me say something about Senator Graham. There will be news coming out in the next couple of months about how he has profited financially off of money that came out of Ukraine, laundered through Latvia, and made its way into his bank account. And we're talking significant amounts of money.
Wow.
Department of Justice is looking at it.
All right, those are serious allegations leveled by former CIA officer Larry Johnson. We shall see.
Yeah, we shall see. And I hope Cash and Bongino are on that one. And that is not that's not surprising at all. And you could see the arrogance with the $400,000 hotel room that he paid for over there. That's obviously some type of financial scam. And, here's President Trump trying to stop the war. He's got these peace talks going on. He talks to Putin, and then all of a sudden there's these major military actions that are pretty high-level military operation. The underwater demolition and the drone bombing, that was us, okay? That was rogue deep state operatives without the approval of Trump to escalate the war and to sabotage the peace talks. No doubt about that in my mind. You guys agree with that? Let me know what you think in the comments. My name is Brian, and if you're new, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Now, we're in a whole new country now. We got our country back. It's the United States again. And I remember this kid got in trouble, and he just won a settlement. Let's look at this. Teen wins $20,000 settlement after school suspended him for saying illegal alien. Can you imagine? Listen to this. This is in dailyfetch.com. A teenage school student who was suspended after using the term illegal alien, that is not a slur. That's not a racial slur. It's not an ethnic slur. It's true. It's a true statement, and it's a legitimate legal term. There are racial slurs that you could use towards people like that, and I would not approve of a child using those in school. Children in school shouldn't be using any types of slurs or racial slurs, but that's not a racial slur. Illegal alien is a legal term. A teenage school student who was suspended after using the term illegal alien has had the last laugh after his school was forced to pay him $20,000 in a settlement agreed to late last week. It's not enough. Because this kid, throughout the rest of his life, this nonsense story of them suspending him, which they're really accusing him of being a racist, right? They're accusing him of being a racist, like that kid that CNN did, that high school kid, remember a few years ago with the fake Indian guy? Remember that, with the kid with the MAGA hat? When this kid, he's 16 now, when he's 66, people look him up online, this story will pop up. This is going to follow him for the rest of his life. He was suspended for 3 days last year. Because with these settlements, you got to talk about damages. It's not so much about the suspension, which was wrong, and that should be resolved, but it's about, in this new day and age with the internet technology, that this is going to follow him. He's going to be applying for colleges. He's going to be applying for a job in 25 years. They'll do some background, and they'll say, "Oh, he's racist. Look at this thing that happened to him. He got suspended from school," and they're not going to say that or tell him it's not enough money. It should be $20 million, frankly, because he may not be able to have a normal work life. Anyway, the 16-year-old was suspended for 3 days last year by his North Carolina high school after using the term illegal alien to describe illegal aliens. Besides receiving the settlement money, he's set to receive a public apology from the county school board for mischaracterizing him in a racially biased manner. As part of the proposed settlement, the school board will remove all references to racial bias in the teen's school record. Yeah, well, it's going to be on the public record on the internet forever. They'll offer a public apology from the board for mischaracterizing him in a racially biased way in his school records and provide $20,000 in compensation. It really should be $20 million. I mean, his life hasn't even started yet. He's 16. The monetary compensation is intended to help with the cost of the new private school Christian transferred to following the incident. The incident occurred in 2024 when he used the term during a vocabulary lesson at Central Davidson High School in Lexington, North Carolina. The school said the suspension was for making a racially insensitive remark that caused a class disturbance. First off, it's not racial. Not everyone who's in the country illegally is any ethnicity. It's not racial at all. The teacher had used the word alien, and then the sophomore asked if she was talking about space aliens or illegal aliens who need green cards. I didn't make a statement directed towards anyone. I asked a question, the student said, in response to the suspension last year. I wonder if his teachers, one of those teachers with the blue hair, one of those green hair, blue hair wokesters. In an email, his mother said he was worried his suspension, in addition to being unfair, could damage his ability to get an athletic scholarship. I got to tell you, this kid does. His lawyers suck. This is not. It needs to be $20 million. This is not right. Because of his question, our son was disciplined and given 3 days out of school for racism. The mother wrote in a email. Oh my goodness. He is devastated and concerned that the racism label on his school record will harm his future goal of receiving a track scholarship. See, he's so young, he can't think beyond that. This college track scholarship is, an eternity to him. We are concerned that he'll fall behind in his classes due to being absent for 3 consecutive days. As the Western Journal reported, in court filings, the school pointed towards its policy, which said that students shall not use profanity, obscenity, fighting, or abusive words, or otherwise engage in speech that disrupts, written, symbolic, or verbal, and or materially and substantially disrupts the classroom or other school activities. This rule, the Davidson County School District told the court, recognizes the importance of First Amendment protections, but states correctly that schools may limit free speech where it could cause substantial disruption. The case became a cause on the right, including for Donald Trump, who wrote Christian a letter which thanked him for defending our America First values and said, do not be discouraged by the radical leftist who will stop at nothing to decimate the freedoms we have worked tirelessly to achieve, the Daily Mail wrote. More critically, they were represented by the Liberty Justice Center, a nonprofit that focuses on free speech issues and education. Well, the Liberty Justice Center, they suck. I mean, the school board was probably so excited to settle this for $20,000. My goodness. Yeah, I know. It's not enough. It's not enough. Well, at least he was recognized as being right there. But, oh, my goodness. But, I know that poor kid, right? Poor kid. Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, who destroyed his entire political career. I mean, this guy, Ron DeSantis, if he had not screwed up and ran against Trump, he would probably be the attorney general instead of Pam Bondi today, maybe even the Secretary of Defense because of his military background. But he blew it, man. He blew it. And you can never trust that guy. It's a similar thing that Elon's going through, but at least Elon may have some mental break excuse. DeSantis has no excuse, but he runs around acting like he's MAGA still. And one of the things he did was get very involved in getting the gay activist education that doesn't belong. It's not part of the school curriculum out of the schools. And he talked about severe punishments for people who do that. Well, it's still in Florida schools. Look at this. And, I'm a Floridian. This is the Daily Wire. Florida teens, this is insane. Florida teens asked to consider becoming gay in class assignment. Listen to this. Florida high school students, this is Ron DeSantis' Florida, right? Ron DeSantis' Florida high school students were drilled for being straight, asked to consider being gay, and told that straight people are to blame for overpopulation, according to course materials obtained by the Daily Wire. Holy smokes. During a course for high school children in Miami-Dade County, and, DeSantis has been out there bragging, oh, Miami-Dade, Miami went red. Students were assigned to complete a sexuality-focused questionnaire. When I was in school, we didn't have any sex ed. Did you guys have sex ed? Students were assigned to complete a what are these, perverts in the Miami schools? My goodness, what are they talking to kids about sex? Students were assigned to complete a sexuality-focused questionnaire that asked a series of bizarre questions, such as, what do you think caused your heterosexuality? What? I thought the left, I thought their narrative was that people don't choose their sexuality, that they're born their sexuality. So you're born gay, you're born trans, but you choose to be heterosexual? These people are out of their freaking minds. Bizarre questions such as, what do you think caused your heterosexuality? Is it possible that being straight is just a phase you may grow out of? What is this? Teachers trying to hook up here? What's going on? And considering the menace of hunger and overpopulation, could the human race survive if everyone were straight, like yourself? What the hell? No, this is real. I know. This is real, man. Yeah. And they suspended that kid from school for saying illegal alien. These teachers, they need to lose their teaching credentials. These are perverts. I mean, who would have a discussion like this with students in a classroom? Parents were shocked to learn that a professor, it's Miami-Dade Community College. Okay. That doesn't make it okay. That's still kind of like high school. Parents were shocked to learn that a professor made their children answer questions like this as part of a Miami-Dade college course being offered to high schoolers. Oh, no, it is high school. Okay, it is high school. High schools sometimes high schools and juniors and seniors, it's in the state of Florida, I don't know if it's this way in other states, they could take classes at a college campus. So these are high schoolers. The course, called Preparing for Student Success, was designed for students to develop academic goals and come up with strategies to succeed in college, and offered in Miami-Dade County, an area that has turned red in recent years. To me, it sounds like you've got some pervert professor who's having inappropriate conversations with students. My goodness. What they're trying to do is tell them that they've chosen to be straight and encourage them to be gay. It's not normal. I mean, imagine if a person, anyone, goes close to your son and asks him these questions. I'd call the police, said a concerned mother whose son was enrolled in the class. Remember, these are high school students in a high school class. It's just taught at a college campus. It's perversion. Why are you talking about their sexuality to 15-year-old boys and girls? It's absolutely sick. It's sick, said the mother. Other questions posed to the children included, to whom have you disclosed your straight tendencies? What? And why do you insist on showing off your heterosexuality? I mean, I can't believe this. 15 is 9th and 10th grade, not even junior and senior. 15 is 9th, 10th grade. The questionnaire ended by asking students what their reaction to it was. My reaction is, you're a pervert, and you should be arrested and investigated. That's my reaction. The questionnaire ended by asking students what their reaction to it was and about the assumptions you hold about what others are like. The questions come from the textbook Power, Strategies for Success in College and Life by Robert Feldman, a senior research associate at the University of Massachusetts. The textbook was printed by McGraw-Hill. That's like the big school book publisher. After being contacted by the Daily Wire, Miami-Dade College said it had reviewed the assignment and determined it would no longer be used. Oh, well. You know, and they're not stopping using this assignment because they're opposed to it or think it's a perversion. They don't want the heat from the press. The other questions on the assignment were as follows. When and how did you decide you were straight? Now, remember, they're talking to 15-year-old boys and girls. When and how did you decide you were straight? Is it possible that your heterosexuality stems from a neurotic fear of others of the same sex? So they're telling these kids, these 15-year-old children, that there's something wrong with them because they don't have same-sex attractions. There seem to be many unhappy heterosexuals. Techniques have been developed that might enable you to change your sexual orientation. Have you considered changing? And why do straights place so much emphasis on sex? According to the textbook, the questionnaire was adopted from the work of Martin Rochlin, a gay rights activist and founding member of the Gay and Lesbian Center of Los Angeles, who developed the heterosexual questionnaire in 1972. Look at that. The concerned mother, whose son was forced to take the quiz, told the Daily Wire that the questionnaire was included in the textbook as a means of indoctrination. She noted that dual enrollment classes are typically recommended for students looking to receive Florida's Bright Future Scholarship. Okay, and it goes on. Let me see if there's anything else. Some parents believe the content of the quiz may violate Florida law. I think so, and DeSantis, I'm sure he has been made aware, and since he's out there trying to win back MAGA, maybe he'll do something about it, but I still won't trust him or vote for him. What a bunch of weirdo perverts and freaks. If you are new to my channel, by the way, my name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk in the most pro-Donald Trump space you will find anywhere. If you'd like to support my content, go to mypillow.com. There's a link in the description of the video. If you're watching live, I have a link pinned to the top of the live chat. And with my promo code Kane at checkout, you can get all kinds of great deals at mypillow.com and support my program and, of course, Mike Lindell, who's on trial right now. And I wanted to talk about the brand new Mike Lindell energy drink. It's called Rev 7. It comes in 3 flavors, green apple, lemonade, and blueberry. I've tried them all. They're spectacular. And like everything Mike Lindell makes and offers, it's a very high quality. They offer them in 12 packs, and there's, of course, a huge discount, 30%, with my promo code Kane at checkout. There's no sugar or caffeine in these energy drinks, and I've had them all. They all taste great. My favorite's green apple, but I like green apple, more than anything. That's my favorite flavor. Right? I like the green apple Jolly Ranchers. But I've had the lemonade and the blueberry. They're all spectacular. And I've tried every energy drink pretty much that's out there. With Rev 7, which is Mike Lindell's energy drink, I drank it, and then all of a sudden I notice I have all this energy. You don't feel like you're buzzing on something, and because there's no caffeine or sugar, you don't have that crash after. Now you can use my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, on all the specials at mypillow.com. Don't forget to check out the pet beds. Your pets will love them. 100% machine washable. They have that same patented fill inside that the MyPillows have, and they're just $39.98 with my promo code Kane at checkout. And again, there's a link to my MyPillow page in the description of the video. And if you're watching live, there's the link to my pillow page is pinned to the top of the live chat. Okay, now all this talk about the Autopin, this is something that's going to most definitely be used as evidence against this power pin committee that was running the country, right? The Chief of Staff Klain, Anita Dunn, the White House counsel, and Obama's former lawyer, and Obama over the phone and others. And all this talk about the pardons, they have now determined that this is official. I mean, this is true. I mean, they know this is a fact. The only pardon Joe Biden signed by hand was the one of his son. And they can tell that by the quality of the signature. Compared to the other ones, which were all Autopin, because they were exactly the same. And I heard Steve Ducey was asking Caroline Leavitt about this, and he said on that part, it seemed as if Joe Biden had forgotten how to spell his name. And this is definitely going to be used as evidence. And I know a lot of people against the presidential committee that were committing treason. I know a lot of people have their frustrations with the Justice Department and Pam Bondi, and I do myself, okay? But I was pretty impressed by her in this press conference today, and I don't think I'm alone in that. I think a lot of people were impressed with Pam Bondi today, weren't you? I think she did all right, and we need to see more of her like that. But this Autopin's not going to go away. This is something that people very well will go to jail for. I mean, this is some hardcore stuff, and President Trump's been talking about it so much. It's first and foremost on his mind, and God only knows what they were doing with that Autopin. And no, there will be some justice with the Autopin. And this story I just had that I just went over shows you that they're working on it. To go and make a big deal about that, Carolyn Leavitt's been talking about it. Now, there will be something done with that. They're not all going to get away with it. The one that's going to go to prison first, without question, is Letitia on the mortgage fraud. Now, we're getting a lot of panicked leftists that have been living off of our system. And, EBT cards, when I was young, they had food stamps. And the food stamps, they don't have the food stamps anymore. The EBT card is like a debit card. But I remember when they actually had food stamps, and the food stamps, they kind of looked like Canadian money. They were like bills, and they were different colors for different denominations. And when I was in high school, I worked at a grocery store here in Florida, Publix. And when it got busy, I'd have to, I'd work on Saturdays and Sundays. If it got busy, I'd have to be a cashier for like half an hour till the things. I was a stock boy, and they make the stock boys run the registers. And I remember in the food stamp days when people were using food stamps, you would put in, you'd hit a button, and the cash register would give you two totals. One was the cash total that was owed, and one was the food stamp total, because not everything's covered by food stamps. Well, that was a long time ago. That was in the 80s, the 1980s, right? Reagan was president. And a lot's happened with EBT. And you can use EBT on so many things legally. And all the time I hear about different things you can use your EBT card for. It's not just food. And this woman... she's very upset. Now, Trump's back in office, so people are cracking down on misuse of EBT, and she uses her EBT card for something that she can't use it for anymore. Listen.
So just a PSA for anybody on EBT that has been paying for your nails, lashes, whatever it may be, with their EBT card, you can no longer do that.
Oh, well, excuse me, I'm so sorry. She uses her EBT card for nails and lashes? Is that legal? Or is this salon been ringing it up as food? And you look at this woman, she's pissed off. She feels very entitled that her nails, I'd like to see her nails. I don't know, maybe we'll get to see them by the end of the video. I don't know. She's very entitled and pissed off that she can't get her nails and her eyelashes done with her EBT anymore.
So just a PSA for anybody on EBT that has been paying for your nails, lashes, whatever it may be, with their EBT card, you can no longer do that.
Oh my goodness.
No. I just went to go get my nails, lashes, and eyebrows done. Went to go swipe my EBT card, and she tells me they no longer accept that. So not only are they taking away junk food, sugary drinks, they are giving us all a time limit with how long we can be on EBT. Now you can get your nails done with EBT. So I had to use cash out of my pocket.
Holy shit! She had to pay out with her own money to get her nails done and her eyelashes, whatever she had done to her eyelashes. I can't. But I tell you, this Donald Trump, what's he doing? The nerve!
EBT. Now you can get your nails done with EBT. So I had to use cash out of my pocket.
Now she has no concern that money out of your pocket and my pocket have been paying for her nails. And I don't know how much nails cost. We men, we don't want to know how much women spend on their nails, okay? But getting your nails done and your eyelashes or eyebrows, whatever the heck she's talking about, that's a luxury expense. It's oh my goodness.
Time limit with how long we can be on EBT. Now you can get your nails done with EBT. So I had to use cash out of my pocket for my nails and eyebrows. So now I'm $100 short on my freaking rent that I'm supposed to pay today.
Oh my God! You've got a choice. This woman, she's what a beaut, man. This is a welfare queen. This is the textbook definition of a welfare queen. So she used her rent money for her nails and her eyebrows. If rent's due, you put off the nails and the eyebrows, don't you? My goodness.
Drinks, they are giving us all a time limit with how long we can be on EBT. Now you can get your nails done with EBT. So I had to use cash out of my pocket for my nails and eyebrows. So now I'm $100 short on my freaking rent that I'm supposed to pay today. They need to figure something out because this is not okay.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You know what's crazy about that? That's real. And she's serious as a heart attack. Oh man. My name's Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. And everyone who's already subscribed, do me the favor of liking the video and sharing the video on your socials if you don't mind. I'd appreciate it. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.